Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Tarot for Our Times. This is Sarah, your medium on the go. Now, after a great day of some therapeutic binge watching of John Garfield film noirs on Turner Classic, I thought, oh, I guess I have to get back to the real world and see what's going on. Oh, I know there's I think it's probably going on as I speak now, but as you can see, I've decided to avoid it. Um, so I was after I was done watching about all the movies that I could, and everybody needs to have a little bit of a day off. I thought, well, let's see what's going on because I started really early in the morning watching movies and just ended like around supper time. And so as I open up the laptop to look at, everything from, the usual Brian Cohen to my colleagues, the psychics and, tarot readers and all of that, it was like so overwhelming that I thought, where do you begin with this? Where do you be? I mean, and usually I have a subject that I have in mind. Then the card, the focus card comes into my mind, and I was thinking, I'm so, because I did this in a kind of short amount of time. I thought, I am so inundated with so much information that I thought couldn't even think of anything. So then I thought, well, instead of my picking the card, let me randomly pick a card and see what it gives me. So I came up with the Six of Swords in reverse, and the title, immediately the title of Are We Ever Going to Sail Out of These Choppy Waters, came up to me. It's just like one thing after another after another. It's almost it's overwhelming. I don't, at this point I don't even know if what Zelensky signed. I heard that Trudeau gave an absolutely incredible speech today. And so I watched some very good, some of the things got gloomy doomy, but I did watch a very interesting video with Revealing Light Tarot, and oh, she had the something about the cards or what's that woman's name? Really interesting black woman. If I'll probably put her name in the description, but yeah, that really kind of brought me back from the edge of the cliff. So with that, I was really studying that Six of Swords in reverse. And, aside from the political turmoil, it is about floods and being stuck, riptides and floods and that sort of thing. Imagine being stuck out in a boat and wondering where is this all going to end. So that was pretty much what brought me to the subject today. Now I might have something to think, something I couldn't bear to watch that a state of the whatever speech. I thought those with stronger constitutions go at it, and then you can show me where he made a fool of himself and all that sort of thing. So I want to see the toll that all of this drama has taken on us. Plus, the fact is, like, is it ever going to end? I mean, it has to, and I understand it. I'm going with the those that are saying that it's going to probably end sooner than later. So I get these shuffled up. So first is going to be the toll it's taken on us and what it could take to end it. Okay. So for our main card here, um, I think I think the people they just want to walk away from it. I mean, I about 10 times a day I stop and think, do I even want to live in this country anymore? So this is what where I'm at a lot of the time, and I'm sure that I'm not alone in this. So it's kind of like, I just really want to get out of this never ending flood of drama. So we'll see the energy crossing that is the Five of Pentacles in reverse. So with this in reverse, it's kind of like, well, in discussing the oligarchs behind the stained glass window, it's like, so now what do we do now? Where do we go for help? And I think people are afraid that they're probably going to make the wrong decision um, with the state of mind that we're in. So we're going to take a look you see, in what's going on underneath all of this. Oh, yes. Almost forgot. Okay. So we have the Ace of Wands in reverse, and the first thing that pops into my mind is we're burned out. This thing is only a little bit more than, it's like 5 or 6 weeks old. It seems like 5 or 6 years. So so it's burnout. That to me, this is what the Ace of Wands read means in this spread. Then we have again the Eight of Cups upright. It's like walking away. And I would say, since it's cups, if it were in reverse, I would say I'd be really worried, because that would mean walking away, like escaping into drugs and alcohol. But it's just walking away from the drama. Plus, he's walking right towards that full moon with the lunar eclipse that's coming up. Let's see, today's the 4th, in about 10 days, a little bit more than a week. So it's saying, yeah, we can try to walk away, but there's really no escaping now. But little escapes, like go to lunch, see them, watch movies all day, do whatever you need to do to step out of it just for a little while. And then we have very emotional, but I would say that in our personal lives, we just need to find the joy when we can. And sometimes when you're out having a good time with your friends, you can have a good time and laugh and escape it, knowing it's not going away. But I would say that may be a way to keep the sanity, because I think, looking at this with the moon and the cups, that there is a danger of really, I'm starting to think that it's really taking a big toll on those of us reasonable, even those that voted for him. I have never seen the sorest bunch of winners in my entire life. They've just been at chip on their shoulders and just crazy. I've never seen anything like it. Okay, so opposing this is the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So this is having one's world turned upside down, and that the comforts and prosperity that one may have is threatened, or we're fearful of losing. One man's wealth is another man's poverty, and vice versa. But it's just like whatever we have. But also, like I said in a previous reading, the Nine of Pentacles is about, being locked in the prosperity trap. That especially with the oligarchs. I would say that also that this the toll it's taking on the oligarchs is being fearful of losing it, because they know the natives are restless. That's why they're all like locked up in their houses with armed guards. Okay, so In the past, we have the Eight of Swords in reverse. It's working very hard to get out of the self-pity that maybe the shock and the self-pity that we may have felt right after the election, but realizing there's only so long to stay in that, and that we need to take the blindfold off and start. And things have started to happen. I think things started to happen not very long after the inauguration or even the election. So that this is a good one, saying being in a pity party is not going to help us. That's why I get a kick out, and this goes to when I go through the news media stuff on Facebook, and someone says, I'm enjoying seeing these liberals crying, and I'm thinking, none of these comments or the people that I know indicate that liberals are crying. Liberals are pissed off, or more than liberals, those that voted against him. It's like we're pissed off, or getting out of numbness, but being crybabies, that's what they do. Okay, so we have in the conscious thoughts level the moon, and I have what I think the important thing about this is the moon in reverse indicates some real problems here. And I think one of the things that this card tells me is that when somebody like him wins and picks a cabinet of alcoholics, addicts, rapists, all kinds of horrible people like that, it does bring out the PTSD in people. Women, perhaps, that have been raped or assaulted in some other ways, is seeing that face and seeing the Tate brothers being released and welcomed with open arm, that has set some episodes off, and it's a traumatic thing. And I think that right now people are starting to realize that, and it also brings up some deep, dark, old issues when you see people like that running the government. And the muskrat, wow, that's something else too. So on the subconscious level, it's like it's a driving force of, we want to push on, we were moving forward, and I think it's a good thing that this is upright, because what this is saying is that the chariot's only paused. It hasn't overturned, it's paused. And I take that to mean that subconsciously it means that people are not going to be hopeless, that we're going to move forward in whatever way that we can. So let's see what's going on in the present now. It's still this massive feeling of betrayal, and with every day we wake up, it's, with executive orders, the muskrat and the Doge boys, it's we're getting like another sword placed in. I'm going to conclude, though, that after so much of this, with a lot of people, because everybody's going through this at different rates, that at some point, even those that want to not get involved, or they hate it, but what can I do, this sort of thing, after you get so many of these swords and you hit bottom like an alcoholic does, you see no alternative but to go turn to other people and say, what can I do? So instead of maybe being at home and going crazy, maybe there's a demonstration, I can go and walk this off. I mean, whatever. But this card tells me there is a point that people reach that they can't take anymore. And it's like that woman on on Marianne's show that I just saw, who said that it's like people take so many knives in the back that that then it's revolution time. And it could be something like really messing with Social Security. There could be some tipping point with the. I should think that the veterans are about ready to explode. They're fine. It took them enough elections to start to realize how screwed over they're going to be. They are. So hopes and fears is I you know what I am seeing, that maybe this is a very hopeful card. The Democrats may be done with this let's play nice and let's see if we can talk to them. The voices of AOC and some of the others and Bernie Sanders, they may be getting through to them and saying, there's no one out there to look at there. You're there with this stuff. Who do you see in the room to negotiate with? There is no one to negotiate with. And that's a big hope. I think, though, that there are going to be a lot of people stepping out of their comfort zones. And that's the fear. But I'm going to tell you, boys and girls, hello, Hakeem Jeffries, that once you stand up to them and you fear like not voting for anything they want, and really giving them some shade and yelling back at them, you're going to feel wonderful afterwards. So this Three of Pentacles in reverse is it's hopeful, yet they fear it, because that is a walk into the unknown. But I'm telling you, as a word of experience, you're going to feel great afterwards. So let's hope that some of the more vocal ones are saying, you can be a moderate, but this is no time to be a wuss. Okay? No time to be a wuss. So how is this going to affect us in the not too distant future? The Queen of Cups in reverse. What I see is that people are going to be made aware of the manipulation, the passive aggressive tactics of a lot of the opposition, and this whole even though this is a female energy, these white MAGA men, who with their fearless orange leader have made themselves the victim. That's a very female Queen of Cups in reverse. Very needy. I'm the victim, but at the same time, she's coercing and manipulating. So, this is a card that I say that we are going to see, many are going to see how they're being manipulated, and finally seeing the absurdity of this white male nonsense. Further out in the future, as this starts to unravel, and I just had a clairvoyant image of knitting a row and kind of carelessly letting the knitting needle slip out, and all of a sudden the cat grabs it and everything unravels. That's how I'm seeing that in the fortune. So we have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. It's the corruption being revealed, because this sort of regime that we're in now is absolutely corrupt. In the age of the internet, people are going to get a front row seat to that one hand washes the other, and so much for the victims. But see, that's how the victim stuff works, so that they can do that. It is also going to be the awareness of seeing how these oligarchs are just ripping us off because if they don't pay taxes, guess who gets stuck with the bill? So in conclusion of this, Three of Cups reversed. Loads and loads of chaos. It's going to be a very uncomfortable feeling, certain actions to resist, maybe a little bit discombobulated, but maybe that has to happen. Hopefully, it won't happen to the point where the unthinkable happens. But there might be a little bit of chaos, but I believe that's the chaos of people. It comes to the getting out of the comfort zone, that people will feel emotional chaos. So this is the one where we warn people, be mindful of the alcohol and drugs. If you need a little bit of a glass of wine to unwind after the stressful days, just don't get too carried away. I can't do it, but I know others can do that. But it's just a word to the wise to be mindful of that too. So what could we learn from this? Well, we could learn a lot. So what I have here is, once again, taking a good hard look at ourselves. There's a lot of stuff and I go back to when we were in lockdown, and I've had clients who have said this, like, whoa, all of this stuff coming up from the past that we thought was gone, and we were in our 20s, or now we're in our 50s, 60s, 70s, and what's this coming up again? It wasn't only that. I think it set us off. But for someone like that to be president with all the people he brought on board, of course some of our darker stuff is going to come bubbling up from our subconscious, just like he came bubbling up from the sewer with all of his people. So I think it's time to take a good look at ourselves, is how much we have to do with it or how little we have to do with it, but to also take the opportunity to address these things and do some healing, because resisting is a lot easier if you're not carrying if you're carrying less baggage. So I do agree with some of these psychics online that have said, stay in your own lane and take care of yourself. Yes, necessary, but you have to balance that with being part of the world. We cannot be gazing into our navels the whole time, because that doesn't get things done. But some meditation, self-care, therapy, whatever you need to do, because old traumas, they do come to the surface, and that's what a lot of this is really about, it's the old traumas coming right up to the surface. This has been a very triggering thing, and it does go back to the previous election and COVID and how that was mishandled, and people died, and now people are dying. That's a very hard thing. That's a very hard thing for us to deal with. So, what is it going to take to end it? I know a lot of it is going to be us, but I'm going to see what the cards say about things that could happen. And I need to shuffle this up a bit. Things that we do, things that could be happening that are out of our control, say in Europe or Canada, or what Mexico is going to do, and the tariffs and this and that. So I'm going to see what is it going to take to have us sailing into smoother waters, because this can't go on forever. And I know some frightened people have been comparing this to Hitler ending democracy in 52 days, but I should hope that we have learned a lot from that era, because there's still a lot of people alive from that era. I know that in Europe they certainly do. Even the younger generations that were born after that They're really well aware of that. It's just that people here have to start to become more aware of it. But I would say that we know too much of that. That history isn't that it isn't that far away. I was born just not long after the fact. So, at any rate, so what is it going to take to end it? So let me put this down here without knocking my microphone over. Okay. So, what is it going to take to end it? And it's going to be catching red hand. This is what I get the impression that we're going to be catching the bullies red-handed and exposing them for what they are. Now, when this is upright, these people they're really turned off. The bully is one. They're turned off. They say, okay, we're out of here. You can have our swords. I would say that in this case, with it being in reverse, the bully's caught, and those two figures are not walking away. They're saying, you're not taking our swords. You're going to have to fight us for those swords. So this is talking about people discovering and then finding and then fighting back. So let's see, what do we have? We have the energy of the sun in reverse crossing this, and this is try as you do to hide the truth and make the days as dark as you can. The sun always comes through in the end anyway. So this is really hiding the truth, trying to block the sun, but it only lasts for so long. It just it eventually comes out. I'd like it to come out a little faster, but okay. Then we have I will take the Eight of Pentacles here to mean that now is the gathering time. Then this goes to the lawyers, the lawsuits. This goes to people, the boycotts, the demonstrations. This is beginning. It all adds up in the end. Everybody has their nose to whatever grindstone they have, whether it's making nonstop calls, whether it's donating, even donating. I made a donation to the mayor today because I heard his opponent had for the primary has some Trump money coming in, and maybe I shouldn't jump to that conclusion, but the psychic hit I got was, yeah, I think so. So time to give to Ed. Okay. So then but it's funny because everybody has their little nose to the grindstone, but what is happening is it's all going to come together. This guy will be looking up from his workbench, and everybody else will be, all the people boycotting Target and all this stuff. The heads will come up and it'll be like, oh my goodness, we've been doing our stuff and it all seems to come, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. So, and see, this is kind of in the past because this is the beginning, the building up, but you put it all together and it is something else. Then we have the King of Pentacles, who is the wise money man. Oh, you know what this is telling me? Is that those Wall Street dudes are having their moment of buyer's remorse as they see the stock market starting to crumble. And those that may have supported him, I understand that crowd is starting to turn against him. I guess they didn't believe that he was going to do the tariffs, which he just unleashed the hounds, and they go into effect real soon. So I'll look at this. This is the Wall Street guys, and see, this is just one of those things that boy, they turn against him, and he's lost a big, big support. And then we have the people divorcing him. Now, this could be his wife. I'm sure his wife, who said, I think it was a riot. Someone said, oh, was it James Carvell? One of those people said, she doesn't want to even be in the same zip code as he is. Could you imagine being in the bedroom with, okay, sorry about that. At any rate, it is about people are divorcing him. People, he still has a base of support. I even heard that some farmers still support him, which I find amazing. So it's the divorce of some of the base. They're just sort of like peeling off like old lead paint in an old building that's deserted. So they're just chipping away. It's just chipping away because they realize that the prosperity that they're no longer, they think, oh, we're in a partnership with the White House and we'll build the prosperity, but that was an illusion, a total illusion. So in opposition, we have walking away. It's like the more people do that, the more it's going to end. And I think it's happening fairly fast. So let's see. Conscious thoughts. Tired of the miscommunication and the drama. That's like the last one, the Ace of Wands in reverse. It's like, wow, we're just so tired of being inundated with this stuff that this tells me that consciously people are just, even his big fans that are becoming disillusioned are just, it's too much. Turn it off. Just turn it off. Subconsciously, the King of Wands. This is the realization that many had, that they still may be in denial of, realizing that this is everything. This is the King of Wands in reverse. He's the philanderer. He's the liar. He's the tyrant. And also he's losing his mojo in inspiration. This, I would say, is the subconscious of those becoming disillusioned. They're not there yet, but this is definitely subconscious stuff. So, in the past, we have him as the thief, making off with all the goodies and getting away with it because he's upright. This has been the past. And we just hope that it is becoming more of the past rapidly. So, in the present, we have the Page of Swords, which is new messages, new communication. Communication is, because this is kind of, I would call this like a young internet guy. If he's in reverse, he's a Doge boy and the spy in the camp and all of that, but he's upright. So he's taking a little bit of a pause. He's putting his ear to the wind, making sure he gets his information, and he's in position, he's ready to take off with it. So that's what it's going to take. And this, to me, also represents getting away from the legacy news on cable and the networks and all that bullshit. This is internet. This is Midas Touch. This is Occupy Democrats. This is Brian Tyler Cohen. This is all of those guys. This is the new thing. It's a page because it is a really news thing, and Midas Touch is taken over from MSNBC. That's why all those people are appearing on that platform. So this is the new communication. They have no corporate BS telling them what to do. This is getting stronger. This is because they don't know it, this is becoming the nails in the coffin. And this you can't stop. So, in their hopes and fears, well, the hope is that better times are ahead and that people have time now, to go back to having happy lives. The fear is that, and I always say that the negative aspect of this is getting idealistic too happily ever after. It's the time to say, yes, this is a hope, but don't get caught up in fairy tales over it, and that it's going to make everything all better, because as this crumbles, there's a lot of work to do, not only getting the government back to what it was, but also doing the work on ourselves, because this has done a lot of damage. I mean, it really has. I don't think people are going to realize the extent of psychological damage until we start to see this in the rear view mirror. Okay, so in the immediate future, death. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, wow, I'm so happy. I am so happy I pulled this card. This is the death of all of this. And this is what this is coming on the heel of the Ten of Cups. This is pretty good, because what this tells us is that the end of this is coming, but there's a lot of things we have to look at, like there's the king. The king is dead. Long live the king. And this is a lot of people becoming aware of the fact. Guess who that is? It may be literally, maybe figuratively, who knows. But at any rate, it's about those who thought he was just a great businessman, yada, 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 and those who thought he was going to bring the eggs down, and he didn't, and now they're losing their jobs. They have to let go of making these jerks kings. And this isn't only a president, it's the person that tells you he has the secret keys to spiritual enlightenment, and you have to listen to him. This is all in the same category. The kids here, we have to get rid of that childish stuff. That it's not the inner child, this is probably the wounded child. We have to get rid of all of that childish stuff, because we have certainly seen that. And then we have the religious figure. A lot of this has come about because of the damage that certain toxic fundamental religions have done. We only have to look at the Middle East and the mess that is to see what happens when all three of them get together and clash, okay? I mean, this night almost looks like a crusader. So we have our Grim Reaper. I like to think of him as the fifth knight of the tarot. He's on the move. He is moving forward, whether we're ready or not. So this is the ending, and it's also the beginning as we head into those pillars, those wonderful pillars of transformation. And he's basically saying, you can hop on my horse and go along with me, or you can stay behind in all of this old business. So this is about so much. I can't even, but you get the idea. This is a great card, because this is saying that if we do our part, this will be inevitable, and it will be soon. But it really is up to us. And we have to light a fire under the behinds of our representatives who want to play nicey-nicey, okay? I mean, Hakeem Jeffries, he's got to get out of that old Nancy Pelosi stuff that worked. It worked fine 15 years ago, but this is a whole new ball game. also see this card as the death of an old order as well. I also see this, and we never do this in private readings, but it's kind of, I hate to say be ghoulish, it's kind of fun to do it in this kind of reading with public figures. But I would also say there will be some deaths with the end of this. It could possibly be Trump. It could be somebody else. Or the way he's not taking care of himself, I don't see him living as long as his father did. So I'll just leave it at that. But I think that because they have been the cause, him, the muskrat, and all of their other cohorts, because these things are causing people to die of holding back money, that this guy is saying, hey, I've got to take some of you with me. That may be the karma coming up. And as I say, this is in the not too distant future. So we have, further down the line, we have the magician. And that is when this thing starts to crumble and we feel as though we have played our part in whatever way. I think people are going to realize taking back their own power and all the abilities that they have. And that these regimes do not have to last for 20 years like Mussolini did, or whatever, 11 years like with Hitler. Things move faster, but it's a matter of seeing the magician in ourselves and how we can take our power back, not only for ourselves, but for the higher good of society, as he has in this wand. And that the infinity crown is saying that this is ongoing with the other hopefully there will never be a bigger one than this, but with something like this. So in conclusion, we have the Eight of Swords, and I'm seeing this as the MAGA people that just can't let it go. They're going to tie themselves up. They're going to become self-victims, and they won't be able to see that we have gone into a whole new era. So that's saying that there will be some left, but they're not going to, I don't think they're going to be that strong. But they're also not, they just can't see reality and what he is. But then they're going to be just stuck in their own mess for a while. And so what we learned, oh boy, that would probably take 3 decks of tarot cards, but let's just see as we move to end this. Temperance. We can have a balance in life. Maybe we can go back to agreeing to disagree. I believe that I'm seeing this as the Lincoln Project, and Republicans that I used to think I absolutely loathed, who like some of them, like Bill Kristol and some of the others, who I realize now that after this is over, I'll be disagreeing with them, but I would be more willing to listen to them, and vice versa. So this is something that could probably be a very good outcome of this, but it's up to us. It's really up to us. And that we have seen that there is the difference between the Lincoln Project. I think it was George Conway who's, and that's the interesting thing. We have George Conway on one hand, who's a conservative lawyer, and his wife Kellyanne, who was big time in the first Trump administration, who was such a whack job that he divorced her, and the teenage daughter, wanted to, I think she went to court to divorce her mother, something like that. But at any rate, I think that we're going to be able to tell the difference. That marriage is like the best example of the difference of the two different kinds of Republicans. So that could be a lesson that we may be a little bit more, we can still hold on to our values, but at least we can listen to each other and come to decent decisions. This could also say that those Republicans and Michael Steele and the rest of them, they could be forming a new Republican Party, and I'm just seeing Abraham Lincoln saying, yeah, maybe that's more of what I had in mind. Although we know historically that what the Democrats are today was what the Republicans were in antebellum America, and the Democrats were more like the Republicans are, today. And some with slavery were MAGA of the 19th century. So, and it's important that we do learn from history. The history of 80 years ago is more crucial than ever. So after doing this, I'm feeling a little bit more hope, because that current of the six of swords could in that boat could be running along pretty fast. But what we have to do is keep the sword. Those swords that are inserted in the boat are plugging up the leaks. So as we go into those very spiritual waters, we also have to keep our thoughts, rational thoughts, together. And that combination is a winner. It's probably to our advantage, and I've said this a zillion times, that unlike Hitler and Mussolini, you're dealing with an old guy. Now, I know that people say, oh, Vance would be terrible, but this is another reading, but I'm really vibrating with a couple of them that have said he's going to be busted in a big money scandal and he may be gone too. I could be wrong, but I somehow don't see him as president. That and the fact that the Republicans, they don't like him. They really don't like him with the eyeliner and the brown wife and kids. I mean, that's the way they are. So if any money, like just say like Trump's getting out of the picture, let's say there's a money scandal that erupts, they're going to throw him under the bus. So I could be wrong, and this is all for entertainment purposes only. I'm still not seeing him as president. Could be wrong, but it's just, for now, that's the way I feel. So at any rate, I do believe we will be sailing out of these choppy waters, but we all have to do our part. So with that, I'll say bye for now. See you soon.